Welcome to the Whatcom County Council for February 12th, 2019. Compliments to all the brave souls who made it in. Would the clerk please call the roll?
Barbara Brenner.
Here.
Red Brown.
Yep.
Barry Buchanan.
Here.
Tyler Bird. Todd Donovan.
Here.
Carol Frazee.
Here.
Satpal Sidhu.
Here.
Would you all like to rise and join me in the flag salute?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, just as a reminder, please turn off your cell phones, and if you'll be handing out any paperwork to council members, please give one copy for the clerk for our office files. Ms. Brenner.
Point of procedure. I'm just going to get this said so I don't fester all meeting. I'm completely outraged that you went ahead and the council is having this meeting tonight. It is so dangerous out there. I can't even believe it. I mean, I have all-wheel drive and I couldn't even stop my car in so many places. I went through red lights in town, out on the county. You know, there's nothing you can do. It's that bad out there. And to say, oh, you're so happy people put up with the weather. Well, everybody else closed down. And I just think this is completely disrespectful to the public. Since we're already here, I think I would like to see the procedure changed tonight, that we do the hearings, because I know there's people here for the hearings, and that we do the emergency thing about the shelter, trying to find a solution to the shelter for them in this weather. Other than that, I would like to see everything else postponed till another meeting.
Further comments?
That's my motion.
Sorry, is it?
I will second it. Let's have a discussion about that. I agree to some extent that it is not easy for public to come and attend, but at the same time, I've been able to come. I live near Linden, and except few side roads, the main roads are actually well maintained and cleaned. Like making it so outrageous. I know we could have done that. We could have canceled the whole thing in the morning, but making sound like this is some kind of so outrageous. I personally don't feel the exact same way, but that's okay with me. I mean, we would have canceled the whole thing all day today and moved to another day, but then that is inconvenient also. You move to another day, so okay, I'll just stop here.
Ms. Brenner.
Well, either you're an incredibly great driver or you're real lucky, because there were cars spinning around. Even on the freeway, people were having trouble on the freeway, and you could see the glaze. And this morning, our Public Works Director sat right there and told us it's only going to get worse and it's going to be icy. And he said that, so it wasn't like we didn't know. Well, now it's super icy. And we've got one major issue, and that's about what we can do, and I've got ideas, and maybe other people do too, about trying to find some emergency shelter for homeless people now. And I would like to do that. But I believe all the other things, some of which we got at the very last minute, this doesn't even deserve to be on the agenda tonight, all that stuff. So the hearings, they're already scheduled. People have come here for them, and I think we should go through those. But other than that, I think it's really important. I mean, I want to be home and off the road. I want to get off the road as quick as possible. So I just think this is so outrageous that you didn't even hesitate. I said, I'm getting all these calls from people. We are having the meeting. That was it, one-liner. And I don't think that's fair. So I would like a vote on this, that we do the emergency stuff tonight and the hearings, and unless the clerk has something that is up there with emergency, that we schedule everything else for the next council meeting.
Further comments? I will respond to your question Ms. Brenner and explain my reasoning. We have, at the moment, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have a live feed of the meeting, is that correct, currently? Yep. And of course, the meeting is recorded. At the recent Tri-County meeting, which was held down in Skagit, for reasons which you didn't explain, I'm not asking for a reason, it doesn't matter, but you attended that by phone. You are aware that we can accommodate council members by phone if you wish to join the meeting by phone. That was an option that was available to you. I offered it. Mr. BYRD called in earlier today by phone. So given that we have a live stream of the meeting, given that citizens are able to comment via email if they don't want to turn up in person, and given that council members are able to participate by phone should they wish, that's why I decided to proceed. Ms. Brenner.
This isn't about me. This is about the public. This isn't about you. We're council members. Gee, we can participate by phone. This is about the public who can't participate by phone. They can send emails and hope that somebody reads them before tonight's meeting. My computer back there kept breaking down and saying, having to recompute. I don't know what anyone else's is doing, and this is here at the county. So we don't even know if we got everybody's messages or if people got to read them. This is not fair to the public. This is the executive days ago declared this an emergency and has not dropped the emergency declaration yet. So it's not like this is a surprise.
Further discussion on the motion. Is the clerk clear on the motion? Okay. All in favour say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
No.
That fails 5-1 with Ms. Brenner opposed and Mr. BYRD absent.
Let's move quickly then,
Yes.
Yeah.
in spirit of her motion.
So the next item up is motion to approve the minutes. We have 10 copies of the minutes.
I move approval.
Ms. Brenner makes a move approval.
Second.
Mr. Sadhu seconds. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none, all in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes 6-0 with Mr. BYRD absent. Next item up is public hearing announcements. Audience members who wish to address the council during a public hearing are asked to sign up at the back of the room prior to the meeting. The council chair will ask those who have signed up to form a line at the podiums. Each speaker should state his or her name for the record and optionally include city of residence. Speakers will be given 3 minutes to address the council. Council staff will keep track of time limits and inform speakers when they have 30 seconds left to conclude comments. When a large group of individuals supports the same position on an issue, the selection of 1 or 2 representatives to speak on behalf of the entire group is encouraged. When using the microphone, please speak close enough that you can hear yourself on the speakers. This will ensure that everybody else can hear your comments. First item up is an ordinance adopting various minor amendments to the Whatcom County Code's Title 20 Zoning, 21 Land Division Regulations, and 22 Land Use and Development Procedures, making corrections and updates and clarifications. This is AB 2019-018, and in this particular case, we are doing the yellow version here. Is there a staff report? Nope. We don't seem to have anybody signed up. Does anybody wish to speak to this? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing.
I move approval.
Ms. Brenner moves approval. Mr. Donovan seconds. Mr. Sadhu, you had your hand up.
I just want to make a comment that this being a county code, and we are doing the approval today, but we have not gotten any, at least I did not see any emails or any comments from public on this. I mean, it is important. Of course, it's been a scrub with that, which we approved, what, about 6 months ago? And there were issues, and we had been discussing this over a couple of meetings, and Ms. Brenner actually got together with the department and got through a lot of details and everything. Why I'm saying this, that this would be the only item, if we need to postpone, I would say that we can postpone because it has more serious consequences compared to opening a road, changing a stop sign or something. So I just wanted to share that with you if you guys feel. I'm okay both ways, approving it tonight or even postponing it. But this is a matter of substance. and I just wanted to express that.
Ms. Brenner?
Well, I just want to say all my concerns were, I did send out my concerns, and I even wrote the executive. And we had asked for a 2-week extension to get specifics. We got no specifics, but the planning department helped me and gave me answers to all the things that I was concerned about. So I'm definitely ready to move on this.
Further comments? Seeing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Barbara Brenner,
Yes.
Red Brown,
Yes.
Barry Buchanan.
Yes.
Todd Donovan,
Yes.
Carol Frazee,
Yes.
Satpal Sidhu.
Yes.
It passes 6-0 with Mr. Byrd absent, excused. Next item up is an ordinance regarding temporary installation of stop signs on certain county roads, AB 2019-073. We don't have anybody signed up for the open public session. Is there anybody who wishes to speak on this issue? Seeing none, I'll close the public session. What's the
Move
wish of-
approval.
Ms. Brenner, Mr. Donovan seconds. Ms. Brenner moves the motion. Any discussion? Seeing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Red Brown,
Yes.
Barry Buchanan.
Yes.
Todd Donovan,
Yes.
Carol Frazee,
Yes.
Satpal Sidhu.
Yes.
Barbara Brenner.
Yes.
It passes 6-0 with Mr. Byrd excused. Next item up is an ordinance establishing a temporary speed limit change for Birch Bay Drive, AB 2019-074. I have no one signed up for the public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak to this issue? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. What's the wish
I'll
of the
move
council?
approval.
Ms. Brenner moves
Second.
approval. Ms. Frazee seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Barry Buchanan.
Yes.
Todd Donovan,
Yes.
Carol Frazee,
Yes.
Satpal Sidhu.
Yes.
Barbara Brenner.
Yes.
Red Brown.
Yes, that passes 6-0 with Mr. Byrd excused. Next item up is an ordinance establishing temporary one-way traffic on Birch Bay Drive, AB 2019-075. I have no one signed up for the public hearing. Does anybody wish to speak to this? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. What's the
I'll
wish?
move approval.
Ms. Brenner moves approval.
Second.
Mr. Sidhu seconds. Any discussion? Mr. Donovan?
Just for anybody who might be listening, we're powering through these things. It all has to do with the Birch Bay Road being half washed away and reordering that. And we actually have to use ordinances to put temporary stop signs up and change speed limits. So here we are. Anyway,
Quick.
Government in its most efficient. Further discussion? Seeing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Todd Donovan, Carol Frazee,
Yes.
Satpal Sidhu.
Yes.
Barbara Brenner.
Yes.
Red Brown,
Yes.
Barry Buchanan.
Yes.
Next item up is an ordinance authorising the temporary opening of Cottonwood Drive at Morgan Drive to vehicular traffic. I'm going to open the public hearing. I have 2 names who signed in. If you wish to come and talk, speak, please come forward. I only have 2 names. If there's anybody else who wishes to speak to this issue, please come forward as well. If you give it to the clerk and she'll give it to
Yeah.
us. Yeah.
Okay, good evening, council members. My name is Anna Maria Ferrero, and I'm a 26-year resident of Birch Bay. I'm here today on behalf of many residents on Morgan and Cottonwood Drive who have concerns regarding Ordinance AB 2019-076 regarding the temporary reopening of Cottonwood Drive at Morgan Drive to vehicular traffic. I've handed in photos showing road conditions and signed petitions from the year-round residents. As you may well know, on September 11, 2001, Ordinance 2001-43, which I have also submitted, was passed to close this road as it was deemed a safety concern to neighborhood residents. The ordinance states that the road is narrow with a substandard sharp road curve and steep road grade. Improvements to widen and straighten the road are impractical due to the close proximity of neighboring residents and the topography of the land. Having stated this, I am not sure why the county engineer has proposed this temporary ordinance and determined now that due to the one-way for the on Birch Bay Drive and for the safety of the public and convenience to Birch Bay residents, that this very same road, which was closed because it was unsafe in 2001, has now been safe for the public and should be temporarily reopened. My question is, how is this now safe for the pedestrians in our neighborhood who have enjoyed this road closure for 18 years now to have temporary traffic on this road, a road that has been deemed unsafe for any vehicular traffic in 2001. To date, there has never been any upgrades or improvements to this road. Since when does temporary convenience trump daily public safety? There is now adequate signage on the drive and residents, one-way on the drive, and residents can use the well-lit road, Beachway to Anderson Road, to exit the drive. Residents have witnessed on numerous occasions cars going both up and down on this substandard, unsafe road, excessive speed, and the cars are not stopping at the stop sign at all times of the day. Also, we would like clarification about, under the wording, would it be further ordained this ordinance will expire and the road will be closed to vehicle traffic at the further direction of the county engineer? This does not sound very definitive and sounds very open-ended, like there could be a change or extension to this road opening. This situation is a very bad accident waiting to happen. Having said all this, we would like to request the immediate closing of this intersection due to the public safety in our residential area on a road that was closed in 2001 under Ordinance 2001-43. Plain and simple, this proposed ordinance is both unsafe and contradictory to previous Ordinance 2001-43. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. And if there's anybody else who wishes to speak after this gentleman, please come forward, otherwise we'll close the public session.
Good evening, Council. My name is Al Farrell. I live right on the corner of Cottonwood and Morgan Drive at 4943. With this new proposed ordinance, my family can no longer exit my yard onto this Cottonwood Drive, the side gate, because now you walk directly onto a roadway. Cottonwood Drive is now with road access. Cars going literally up and down, up that road. They did put a one-way stop sign, one-way sign showing road just up Cottonwood, and on across the street on Morgan Drive, they put a sign saying "Do not make a left." But of course, people are not obeying that and just driving down Cottonwood Drive. Also, my driveway enters onto Morgan Drive, and the problem is people that actually obey that sign and don't make a left down Cottonwood are now just pulling a U-turn into my driveway and then exiting Morgan Drive. Now, I fear for my family and the many families who walk up and down Cottonwood Drive. It has now become a main thoroughway for access down to the beach, and people walk up and down Cottonwood with all sorts of equipment, just not individual, but all sorts of kayaks, canoes. Now they have to share this road with cars. There's no sidewalk, there's no guardrails, there's no lighting. There's a 25-foot drop off the side of into the ravine. The road is dark, narrow, and there's a blind corner. There's no room on this road for vehicles and pedestrians to safely access Birch Bay Drive and onto the beach. This weekend, with the snow and ice on the road, is going to be very dangerous. My other concern is if this road remains open as stated until such time as the drive is repaired, especially during the construction of the drive, you can bet that all the heavy-duty trucks, oversized trucks, will be using this roadway as a shortcut. And not to mention, the workers that are working down there will also use this, increasing vehicle traffic coming through our neighborhood. We feel that this road opening is a convenience to the county while they repair the road that has nothing to do with the few residents
30
affected
seconds,
on the
please.
drive. Our street is 25 miles per hour, and Birch Bay Drive is down to 10. People are cutting through our neighborhood like it used to be, and we ask that this road not open. The traffic will only get worse once the summer residents start coming in. In closing, I ask that we close this road due to safety concerns, and we need to keep it closed. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who wishes to speak on this issue? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing, and I'd ask for a staff report if possible.
Good evening, Jerry Town with Public Works, and I am the county engineer. This,
A little closer, Jack.
okay, I'm sorry. Yes, this was closed after the storm on December 20th to 21st. We did have some requests from area residents, some of the businesses, to open that because there were concerns about people getting to their businesses. I have heard of a few complaints like this, but we looked at it, looked at the traffic patterns, and felt it for the winter traffic volumes out there and the patterns, this would be better than pushing people all the way up to Shintaffer and then back down Anderson, which is what these people would have to do. If we, it would be a simple thing to close of the, all the ordinances in front of you. This would be the one that, you know, I would recommend that we keep it open for the traffic pattern, but it could be closed. It would just mean that those people would have to travel all the way up Birch Bay Drive to Shintaffer, then Shintaffer to Anderson, then back through that neighborhood on Anderson. So it just moves the traffic to some other location.
Ms. Brenner.
So you're saying that this should be open because it would save people quite a bit of time?
Some, and it does impact others. Certainly, as the gentleman spoke,
No, I'm not even,
it was,
if we already made that, so we closed it saying it was unsafe,
Yeah.
what justifies opening it
well,
now?
I looked over the public hearings, and most of the comments were about during the summertime and the access up to the water slides that were through there. I don't disagree with anything that was said. As soon as we get that road back open to two ways, we would reclose that.
No, but that's not, my concern is,
Basically is during the low volume times right now of the winter, we felt we could get the road open and it
Okay.
established before the volumes got higher.
so it's still not very safe, but you don't think the volumes are going to be that big?
It's the winter volumes out there, the water park's closed. There's certainly, if you live out there and you're on that corner, like the gentleman said, you know, it was a one-way road and now it's a two-way road.
Doran.
I'm having trouble following. So are you saying that by summer, we don't think this would still be open?
I would expect, our plan is to, as soon as asphalt is being made, which last 2 weeks ago I would have said sometime in March, now I'm thinking it's probably sometime in April. When the asphalt plants open up and start making mix, we intend to have that ready to be paved, reopen that to two-way traffic, and close this road.
Reopen Birch Bay Drive.
Reopen Birch Bay Drive to two-way traffic and close this to, reestablish this to one-way traffic, Morgan Drive.
Joe, your resolution says pretty open that when the county engineer feels that it's safe to do that. So do you think that if we put 90 days from today, that would be sufficient for you to, because that does put an end to that, and after 90 days, you have to come back to keep it open. And one thing I want to say that the county engineer has the best interest of public at hand. It's not that it's being done only for convenience. And Birch Bay Drive being going through whatever it is going through, we've seen that what storm has done to it. And I trust you that you must have gone through all the iterations before thinking of opening this for a period of time. But I take the point the lady made that it's kind of no time limit and all open. I would just suggest that we should do, okay, 90 days, you get your thing done, and if you can't, you can come back to reopen it, or you will just close it within 90 days.
That would be acceptable to us. The other three ordinances are written that these will change, that they're temporary and they'll come down when the road is reopened to two-way traffic. We left this one flexible in case we did have a problem and we said, you know, let's close it if indeed it became an issue. So we're monitoring it, and so far we have not had any accidents out there, and hopefully we won't. We can get the road fixed, get Birch Bay open and Morgan closed. 90 days would, I believe we have no problem getting everything we need to get done in that time.
Ms. Frazee, then myself.
And this says map, not the scale, so I just was trying to figure out how far it is from Harborview to, I don't have my glasses on, Shinnefer?
And Taffer?
Shintafer, how far is,
Oh, boy. You know, there's people who live in that neighborhood who know it far better than I do, so whatever I say, they're going to be able to correct me, but I'm going to guess that's probably about a fifth of a mile.
A quarter mile at
Yeah,
least.
I didn't
if
want to
remember correctly.
overestimate. But
so that would be where people would have to go Birch Bay Drive through Shintafer, and then,
no, it's, without a map, it's a little difficult. Basically, right now, you can go, before the storm, you could take a right off of Birch Bay Drive, drive up Morgan, Beach, and then take a right onto Morgan over to Harborview. Doing this off the top of my head. We're now allowing people to, what we're proposing to do is allow people to come off Harborview, go down Morgan, and take a left down into Beach Way. That way, I explained this wrong earlier, that way they don't have to go down and go through the one-way section of, go down Harborview and then through the one-way section of the damaged road. And that was originally proposed to me as an idea by the business that's right there. They were very concerned about people being able to access right there at the corner of Beachway and Birch Bay. And we looked at that and felt we could do that, and it would be provide a better way for people to get in and out of there without having to go through the damaged section of the roadway.
are most of those businesses open right now, or just summer businesses?
Some are summer businesses. It's more residential up there. It was just the one business that approached us and raised the idea to us.
So, Mr. Sadhu, if you're going to make a motion, I just need something on the table. You're making a motion?
Yeah, I'm making motion that make it limited only for 90 days from today, no more. And if this needs to be done again, then the county engineer should come back.
Accept a friendly amendment to make that
Sure.
May 31st.
Okay, I'm okay with that. All I'm saying is that they must have issues with their equipment and people or the other businesses that they thought of this. It's not something just that, just to make people inconvenient that we're going to close a road or open a road. That's how I'm thinking of it.
I can also tell you that we've instructed our truck drivers not to use that as a route unless they're doing maintenance on that road, and we will follow through with the contractors also. That's a residential area. We should not be sending trucks through there.
Ms. Brenner.
I'm going to speak to the original and to his amendment. The county said this is not a safe road. I think we have an incredible Public Works Department, and they look at things with very different eyes than how I look at them. But I don't think it's appropriate to open this for all traffic and keep it open until or unless there's an accident. That concerns me. I think there's got to be another way where we didn't have a road closed for safety reasons and now opening it because it's easier than having them go the other way. I'm not going to support this either version.
Okay, so we have a motion to amend the ordinance, which was from Mr. Sadhu, and I will second that.
I'm agreeable to that. And I would even suggest that you don't have to take all 90 days. If you have the ability to do it before, that is the far limit, or you said 31st of April?
31st of May.
May, yeah. So I'm fine with that. I'd rather see it open before that. Closed before that. No, it should say open.
So we vote on any further discussion on the motion to amend. Seeing none, all in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No. That passes 4-2 with Donovan and Brenner opposed, and BYRD absent. Now we're back to the main motion. Any further discussion on the ordinance? Seeing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
There's no motion to adopt as
Oh,
amended.
sorry. So can someone give me a motion to adopt the main ordinance?
Regular.
So Pal, so what the sequence was is so Pal made a motion to amend the ordinance, but we don't actually have a motion for the ordinance. So I need a motion for the ordinance.
I move approval.
Moved approval. Did you second or? No.
Second.
Second. So Sadhu moves approval. Ms. Frazee seconds. Ms. Brenner, discussion.
Yeah, just one more attempt. Seems like we worry a lot about liability, and I just feel like this is something where this could come back to bite us. And it's not like this is the only route that they can use. So I don't think it's fair to the people who live there, but I also don't think it's all that safe. And if we're going to be so careful about liability, I don't think we should do it.
Further discussion on the main motion? Seeing none, would the clerk please call the roll?
Carol Frazee,
No.
Satpal Sidhu,
Yes.
Barbara Brenner,
No.
Red Brown,
Yes.
Barry Buchanan,
Yes.
Todd Donovan,
Oh,
That fails for 3-3, so motion fails.
So it didn't pass.
Did not pass. Next item up is the open session. During the open session, audience members can speak to the council on any issue not scheduled for public hearing. Each speaker should state his... Sorry. During the open session, audience members can speak to the council on any issue not scheduled for public hearing. Each speaker should state his or her name for the record and optionally include city of residence. Speakers shall be given 3 minutes to address the council. Council staff will keep track of time limits and inform speakers when they have 30 seconds left to conclude comments. And if people wish to speak, please line up at the podiums. Mr. Briggs.
Good evening, council. My name is Dana Briggs. I am currently homeless within the confines of Bellingham. Weather emergency that has been ongoing since a week ago last Sunday intensified on Saturday to the point where I'm actually appalled, and I'm going to be appalled about a number of things tonight, having to do with the fact that the temperatures have been consistently below freezing with wind chill factors down at the 0 level in some cases or lower than that. With all due respect to anybody who might be concerned about getting out and driving around on the roads as they are tonight, and this is not a slam, I, along with a bunch of other people, have been out driving the roads until 3 or 4 in the morning, picking up homeless people who either will not go to the drop-in center or the Lighthouse Mission, or have been banned from it for one particular reason or another, okay? We made arrangements through the generosity, the really big generosity of a church out on Smith Road to house people. Last night, we took 31 people there, and there were still people on the streets. And there are people throughout this county who have probably been freezing their rear ends off, and if they're not dead, then the exposure levels are beyond belief. Among many other things that you have not heard about me is that I am a graduate of multiple military survival schools, and I can tell you, while I may be able to take care of myself, most of those people can't. We've already run across people that have had frostbite issues, and among many other things, the hospital's been dumping them out the doors of the ER after they treat them. Emergency planning in this county, along with the city of Bellingham, along with the small cities, is atrocious. Absolutely atrocious. A weather emergency is not just snow on the ground where somebody's Mercedes-Benz SUV might get stuck into a small snowbank. It is also individuals that are out in this exposed weather, and nobody is disposable. And I heard my understanding from some comments that were made in committee meetings this morning that the only people that were out on the streets were those that were too difficult to handle, okay, or that that there wasn't the staffing and the ability to be able to handle people that might have mental health issues or violence issues or whatever the case may be, well, then by God, they ought to
30
be
seconds, please.
arrested and thrown into jail so at least they're warm, okay? And it's appalling that if we do have people with mental health issues that can't be handled under normal circumstances, what the hell do you think's going on when they're out in weather like this? There is going to be, in my estimation, a come to Jesus meeting, not only for the city of Bellingham, like many of us, and if you haven't heard about what happened last night, I suggest that you review the tapes of what happened, and with the county and with the cities about what we do in the future. The immediate need right now for the county is work with the city and do something to get immediate shelter now and for the forecast for what's going to occur over the next week and get it done, please.
Amy, Amy Glasser, Bellingham, Washington. I'm not representing Homes Now. I'm a volunteer and a citizen, so I'll begin by saying, as a citizen, I'm entitled to speak with my representatives. Oh, crap. I'm entitled to speak with my representatives even if I'm unhappy. I'm not violent. I expect people who work at offices to expect unhappy people to come in the office, especially in an emergency. Next, thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Barbara. I hear you tried to convince the county executive to just open up a building, and his response was this. Good ideas. As I've been trying to tell some people, it's not as easy as just snapping your fingers and making it happen. A lot of these individuals, obviously very valued, but their challenges in being in terms of the management they want. And, you know, I think for the most part, we have everybody that's willing to go in and find a dry, secure location in doing that. But we, the people, are out there and are still out there, and our really challenging ones are just very challenging, and they just are very resilient to what's going on. And it's typical, it's difficult. Well, that isn't true, Jack. Just gas those out all night, like Dana was saying. And please, like he said, I'm sure he reviewed last night, so I won't go into that speech I made. A religious organization should not be in charge of this effort, and now Homes Now volunteers are banned from mission property because we've been showing what hasn't been done. Really? Where is the 2019 emergency plan, which is online? Where's the extra $30,000 you offered the city to help? Yesterday, it was only $15,000. Where are those vouchers? People, just give them to Homes Now. Give them to the Opportunity Council. Stand at the Motel 6 with them yourselves and give them out. Homes Now cannot continue to finance 100-plus people they've been housing since last Sunday, and we can't continue to risk the safety of volunteers driving in this weather. The church closes tomorrow night. Where are they going? How about a minimum, park a sheriff or an officer around Homes Now Winter Haven so that the people there keeping it safe and the belongings safe can go sleep and not be in the freezing. You can park them there just as easily as you can park them on Railroad and you can park them in the lot. Get them to do something. People can say everyone is helping, but in the middle of the night, it's Homes Now that's continued to drive around making sure no one's left outside. And no, Jack, it isn't being managed, not on Wednesday when the weather...
Seconds, please.
Oh, 30? Oh, wow, I'll be done early. When the wonderful church up north can no longer house men, women, couples, and children. The new shelter downtown at at Maritime Park is just for men. What's happening tomorrow? And for God's sakes, it's not a snap of the finger. How many months have we been here? 19.
Mr. Uri.
I'll go.
If people could please line up at the podiums, that'd be great.
I'm Eddie Uri of Bellingham. I felt compelled to speak tonight as just as a citizen of Whatcom County. Attended the city council meeting last night. There's a lot of folks spoke with passion, and just there's a crisis going on. I know it's nothing new. Homelessness is not new. Winter is not new. This actually is something that goes on every year. But we're in a situation now where, as you know, was just talked about, Homes Now is filling a need for the community, is putting people in, taking them out of the cold and the snow and putting them in motels. It's a crowdfunding effort, many thousands of dollars being put into this. I understand the county's also, has definitely contributed $50,000 for motel vouchers. That goes a long way. But what's being communicated out there from a lot of folks who couldn't be here tonight, because they're out there, they're servicing shelters, they're driving around in vans, helping people, is that there's a need that's not being met by the current institutions, and even though those are valuable and those are helping, we've hit a bit of a wall here where the mission, the drop-in center, they say they have space, and that's keeping other spaces from opening up. But what we know is that if even all of the Winter Haven residents came down and actually came to the mission, if others out there who are staying in other churches and shelters came to the mission, they definitely would be beyond capacity. And what we're talking about is maybe some extra space on the floor, an environment that a lot of people feel is unsafe and are just unwilling to go to in the first place. So I know there's no simple fix to this whole systemic issue, but in the meantime, I think basically just what's clearly needed here is an additional shelter space opened up for the Winter Haven residents and for others who can't go to the mission, whether because of disability or because of past trauma they've experienced there. It's a need. It's being asked of the county to provide whatever it is you can, if it just, something. And it's needed now. So I know that you're concerned about this and you want to do what you can. It's not just like as simple as it might sound, but yeah, they need a space. Like they really do. And I think this is something that everyone here can agree on. So thanks for your service.
Krista Rome, Ferndale, Washington. I do want to say I do appreciate that this meeting wasn't canceled tonight. This is a weather emergency. People need options, and this needed to happen. So I'm really glad it didn't get canceled. I hope that you all had a chance to watch the testimony from City Council last night. There was a lot of really important words spoken. I just want to let you know, in regards to the conversation at the meeting earlier today, I've been on the streets with these folks. I am not trained, not experienced, not comfortable, no history of interacting with, unhoused folks or people. They're not difficult. The gigantic majority of them just can't go to the drop-in center of the mission for all the reasons you'll hear if you listened last night. I just wanted to share that personally as a volunteer who stepped in, having no background in this, to help out. There's so many people out there that these volunteers have been bringing to shelter who are not a safety issue. I just want to make that clear. I'm really worried about the safety of the volunteers. They are not going to stop. If other alternatives aren't offered by the city and the county, they aren't sleeping. I'm really afraid someone's going to get hurt. Someone's going to die on the streets, or one of these volunteers is going to, get in a car accident and on the bad roads. You have more power than I do to help here, and I hope that you can find a way to leverage it. Thank you.
On that note, my name's Jennifer Mansfield, Bellingham, Washington. I've got all kinds of things coming out of me today. All right, so the first thing I did at the beginning of last week was call the executive office to find out what the protocols are for emergency weather. I wanted to understand what our city was responsible for doing to make sure we had warming centers present in our city for the population that's out there that's being exposed to it. So I called our office, and Tyler Schroeder called me back and let me know. He gave me the 2 links that are on our website for how we were handling this situation. Well, there's a lot of people out on the street that aren't going to see those websites, okay? So our group, I say group, a lot of different people came forward concerned for the population that was out there. And we decided to go ahead and print out flyers of whatever those websites said to hand them out to the people. And I'll let you look at these because I think you should know what they look like. Today. My personal reason for being here tonight is I've never lived in a city that didn't have a protocol for emergency weather in which we sounded it and announced it and broadcast it and publicized it openly, so broadly that everyone knew where to go when there is a crisis of this nature and there are people stranded out on the city streets. So having had experience with certain severe weather in other cities, I feel like we are lacking a protocol where we alert all the cities that they need to open said warming centers, and if they don't exist, we need to create them because we live in the Northwest, and we are experiencing a high rate of unhoused population right now who are exposed to this winter weather and will either lose life or limb because of it. So it's not a criticism of anyone here. It's not a criticism of our current policy. It's just me recognizing that we lack some resources in our town, and perhaps on the county level, we can start to implement that for all of our cities around us. And because this is the effort we're creating right now. Grassroots effort to meet the immediate need because it was an emergency. And we know the population that is out there that's suffering in the winter right now. So we are putting this out as a means to afford hotels to get people off the street that could not go to our local mission that was in place for our city.
30 seconds,
for the Winter
please.
Haven residents. And I'm sorry, but I've been running off of 3 hours a night because we've been going from alley to alley, from streetway to streetway, picking up people who do not know where to go and are sitting out there in the streets freezing. So I think we need to do a better broadcast system and have a place, a public place, a general public place for our general public to go to make sure that they have warm conditions and weather like this. So I hope that is something that everyone will consider. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Evening, Council. My name's Trevor Smith. I live on Roland Street here in Bellingham. You guys, you're used to me being up here, but I'm actually here for a different reason. So I just wanted to encourage you guys to do something about the homeless, help with the community efforts to do it. It's a tough job. I don't envy the position that you're in or trying to solve this problem in one night, but I think something does need to be done. So that's all I came to say, and to say thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, honorable council members. My name is Eleanor Hines, and I am the North Sound Baykeeper at Resources for Sustainable Communities, and I live here in Bellingham. I am here tonight to express our support and ask for you to approve AB 2019-133, a resolution before you tonight to support 4 pieces of legislation that came out of the State Southern Resident Orca Recovery Task Force. As you all know, we have to do a better job for our endangered southern resident orca. Continuing managed decline is no longer an option, and there is unfortunately no one solution that can fully recover and restore this population. Recovery will take time and tremendous effort. After decades we have spent destroying our salmon forage fish habitat, allowing releases of harmful chemicals into the environment, and increasing vessel traffic and oil transit in the Puget Sound. Saving our orca and protecting the Salish Sea is a clear priority for our area. The scientific community has known for a long time what needs to be done to save our sound. With worldwide attention on our mourning orca mother this last summer, we need to do all that we can to ensure that these long overdue bills pass. So I'm asking you tonight to please pass this resolution and show your constituents as well as our state elected officials that you support recovering our endangered southern resident orcas. Also, additionally, I would like to add that we really need to save our Puget Sound, but we also need to take care of ourselves, and I echo all of the statements previously said here about the weather conditions and our folks who are out there who are less fortunate and don't have a warm, dry place to go tonight. So thank you for your time.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to speak at the open public session? Seeing none, we'll close the open public session, and the next item up is finance.
Before you go on to other items, I think we should discuss this. Maybe I can start what you guys have described is actually known to all the people, the social media, private phone calls and other things. I think most of the people are aware of. I think what is, in my mind, is missing is how swiftly we can provide that. Just saying that, okay, we have $30,000, it doesn't do anything. It's just a number in the air. And I would like to ask Tyler or anybody else suggest that. I just calculated at $65 a night, it's 460 man nights or person nights available. We could go and have pick 10 hotels and motels, say we need 50 vouchers or a piece of paper, and then hand it over to, say, Homes Now, to, say, volunteers like Krista, volunteers, other people. I'm just saying we can give it to the sheriff's deputies. Say, okay, these are the 5 deputies. If you have a homeless person, need a shelter, call this person. He will give you the coupon or a code number. He doesn't even need to do anything. You say, go to Motel 6 and say 308-797. And they check it, they say, okay, they can call the deputy, make it sure. Like, I'm just trying to simplify something like this. And after 5 days, if we used only 250 of those, we can go back and reimburse the rest. So I'm not saying this is a foolproof method or I have used it, but this is something expediently can be done. And we have, 4,000 rooms in our county, and they are not busy right now. There's no conventions going on. There are no other things going on. It's not that those things are overwhelmed and they have no room. So this is one of the thought that it can be expedited and let the volunteers take care of it. Give 5 only to one person or one organization. When you run out, I get you 5 more or 10 more, whatever number works. The second thing I think we did have a discussion about with the emergency organization for our county and with the county administration about WTA buses. That is something low-hanging fruit that we can have 5 or 10 buses parked, say drop-in center, say at the city hall or railroad or something, which can be a warm-up place or something, and until the people come in 2 hours to come pick them up and take to a motel, they have a place to stand in. Sure, why not? Sorry, Mr. Chair. Oh, you are. So this is not something new I am telling. That's what I thought, that these are simple things people probably already know about it. So that's what my suggestion is, that need is now, like tonight or tomorrow night or after a week, it will not be needed. It'll be a different need. What need we now is we need it like tonight.
This is Brenner and then Mr. Dorman.
Well, since the executive already declared a state of emergency, we are in a state of emergency, I would assume that gives us broader powers to do all kinds of things. We have buildings right downtown here that are not being used in the evening. They're heated. There's bathrooms. We have the sheriff's office right next door and the police department right there to oversee stuff from the outside. I don't see why we can't have an organization like Homes Now come in and do management, and to cover our collective public butts, we have, that there's deputies around that can make sure that, everything goes smoothly or something, but they don't come in. They just stay outside. Or not outside because it's cold. They can stay in their offices. I just think that we should have that authority now because this is a crisis. It's not just some of us saying it's a crisis. It's been declared a crisis. It's been declared an emergency. I would like to have the council, I move that we open the courthouse for people to be able to stay here out of the weather till this weather gets better, which apparently it's going to be bad for another week or so, and let them stay here with the heat on, and the management would be done by either. I did speak to somebody from Homes Now who thought they could possibly do it, but they didn't know if they'd be allowed. And it just seems to me, since we're like so close to, protective agencies that we should be able to do this. They're everywhere. They're all around us. So that's my proposal. And anybody want to make it a motion? I'll make it a motion if you want. You want me to make a motion? I'll make a motion. I move that we open up the county courthouse for people to get out of the weather anytime, day or night, until this crisis weather dissipates. And that we have the people who can manage it personally and who can oversee it outside.
Do I have a second?
Oh, I'll second it. We need to discuss.
Well, I'm going to do something right away. This is right away.
I'll start the discussion. I mean, we are discussing, okay? Nobody has the silver bullet or one solution. Like we are specifically saying county courthouse. We have a garden level annex where we meet. That is a place where there's carpet, there's bathrooms. It doesn't have to be county courthouse. I mean, the idea, I think I understand, is that there are buildings around here which can be used for 2 or 3 nights or whatever the weather is, and relieve this pressure, and then see what are the other things are. And like motels, I think those private businesses will be happy to have 10 new guests where their rooms are empty. And they have the service. They have a bed, they have bathroom, they have linen, they have everything else to go with that, and maybe food also. So let's not just jump the gun that, okay, let's open it and people come in here and do that. I'm not against it, but I'm saying let's just think it through. What would work better and not disrupt our regular work order also?
Mr. Donovan and Mr. Buchanan.
And then me?
Brennan.
And the only reason I didn't second your motion, because I had some stuff similar to what Mr. Sadhu was going to say before that. But so I guess trying to speak to the motion and say what I wanted to say at the same time. And this is a question for Deputy Executive. First, I would say I want to thank the people in the community who've been holding our feet to the fire on this issue. I think that there has been progress made, as slow as it has been in the last week and a half, because folks in the community have been doing that. So I want to make sure that I think I can speak for myself, but really appreciate that. I don't think the Lighthouse mission can meet the capacity, the demands that are out there in cold weather crises. I think that's shown to be pretty apparent. One of the things that has happened, I don't know how much this has been communicated, that the executive did provide some of that money, $15,000 for vouchers yesterday for the Opportunity Council. But I still think, and Mr. Brown and I have been trying to figure out like a resolution where we're trying to say the county has more of a role in this than we're admitting, and particularly like this part of the problem this weekend is it's coordinating communications between nonprofits and the cities and the county. This is sort of speaking to the motion still, but as a question, like, I see a role for our health department as being that agency, if not that lead agency, and that was part of what we have in this resolution, in addition to the county providing public facility space, the county coordinating to provide motel vouchers. But has there been any progress in discussing what the health department's role might be in coordinating a lot of these issues that we're all talking about here, and having that plan that doesn't, that is there on the shelf when we need to open up spaces?
Yeah, so Tyler Schroeder, Deputy Executive. Thank you, Council, for engaging me on this topic and bringing up this important issue that we need to have some discussion and some coordination and some further action towards finding a solution. There has been a number of conversation and actions since the conversations have come up since last week. As Councilmember Donovan has indicated, Executive Lau signed a contract amendment with Opportunity Council to provide $15,000 more for housing vouchers for unsheltered families. With discussions that happened in Thursday and Friday of last week, we became aware that Opportunity Council was running through their money that they had allocated. They had about $40,000 allocated for this winter. And there was conversations with Opportunity Council and Mayor Linville over the weekend, and they both committed to continue the services so that unsheltered families, so families would not go unsheltered associated with it. Earlier today, Executive Laus was able to give an update to council, recognizing all of the good work that we in the community are doing on this issue. Whether it be from the City of Bellingham, whether it be Whatcom County, whether it be Lummi Nation, who has done efforts associated with it, whether it be Homes Now that has stepped up and continued to do work, whether it be the Lighthouse Mission, the Fountain Church, and all of the different community and faith organizations and community organizations that have continued to take action associated with it. We always can do better, and I think that's what we've continued to do and see where that goes. There's been continuing coordination with the Health Department, with the Department of Emergency Management, who works with volunteers, with the CERT volunteers, as well as the EMS administrator, to work together to try to find additional space with the City of Bellingham. I'm sure you guys are all aware the City of Bellingham just released a notice that they've provided additional resources for, I believe, 20 individuals at the Maritime Park that will be operated today with city staff, and more than likely tomorrow with CERT volunteers and mental health professionals through the homeless outreach team of Opportunity Council is the next step that we're looking at doing. So those are additional capacity that we've been able to provide in this situation. We're continuing to work with the City of Bellingham and the Health Department to understand which additional actions need to happen. But I think in the last couple of days, there has been action. And it's also important to know that with all of the good work that community agencies and organizations have done, there's been capacity for those that need shelter. At the Lighthouse Mission, there's been capacity over the weekend, and we continue to accomplish housing for those.
Sorry.
For those individuals. We will continue to look at it, but Councilmember Donovan, to your point, I have worked with the Health Department today. I did become aware of the resolution that the council is looking at, and we are going to be working internally to establish who the point contact is with Whatcom County to continue the organization of sheltering requirements that we as a community have.
Mr. Buchanan.
So Tyler, could you tell us what this, we've got a declaration of emergency. What is available? What tools are available through that concerning this issue? I mean, let's start with finances. Can we immediately come up with some more financial support for vouchers?
Declarations of emergency allow for, I would say, waiving of purchasing requirements that would allow actions to happen to be responsive to those emergencies. In normal emergencies, or at least how the county has utilized them in the past, it's mostly with public works, road programs, and accomplishing that. But there would be an ability to continue some purchasing associated with anything that has to do with the cold weather severe event that we're experiencing today.
So we could authorize expanding the amount of financial support that we're giving for vouchers.
I believe that council could. There is already a contract amendment with the Opportunity Council for the $15,000, and there may be additional budget authorized to expand that program if there turns to be a system in which those vouchers could be distributed to organizations that would provide it in a safe manner as we move forward.
Just before we go on, Ms. Frakes, I don't know if you can answer this question. Mr. Buchanan raised the issue of the council authorizing additional expenditures, but I assume it would be up to the executive to authorize the expenditures. The council doesn't have unilateral authority spend the money. Is that a correct statement?
I believe that's true.
All right, just for clarity. Mr. Sadhu, oh, sorry, Mr.
You said me next.
Sorry, Mr. Schroeder, if you're.
Just to that point, the executive is very willing to have conversations with the council about what those expenditures may or may not look like.
I think we need to have that conversation right now.
And there is the ability to walk through and understand what expenditures would be appropriate. And I can represent the executive in those conversations, and if actions need to happen, signatures can be accomplished tomorrow morning.
Mr. Sadhu was next. Ms.
Yeah.
No,
See-
you said I was after Buchanan. You said Todd, then Barry, then me. That's what you said.
I would yield.
Ms. Brenner, okay.
We are not just the county council, we're the Board of Health, and we do have powers as the Board of Health. And I totally agree with what you're talking about. It's not one or the other, but we're talking about tonight. And I disagree. I think you do a great job, by the way, Tyler. But I disagree that it's working for everybody, because I've seen people out on the streets, even like yesterday. And I don't think it's working. I mean, there are people who will do it, but there are a lot of people, you don't always get to be homeless because of just no reason. There's reasons, and sometimes it's real difficult for people to know where to go, how to go, and like the person said, they're not all connected to computers. So I just think if we had somewhere that was downtown, that's a building that could be open now, I like your resolution, but it keeps talking about provide resources, you know. I'd like us to provide the facility or facilities. It could be the garden room. It could be anything like that. I don't care, but it's not like it can wait. And I don't see, we're in a declared state of emergency, and we're the health board, and it's a state of emergency of public health and safety. So it is our purview. And I think that I believe that we are allowed to make decisions to keep a building open under a state of emergency. This isn't like regular business. And I still think we should go ahead and do it. And, just open up a building or buildings, work on getting vouchers done. We just keep having conversations.
Yeah.
This is to do that
Okay.
myself.
I just been reminded of an old saying, when your house is on fire, you don't ask the price for buckets.
That's a good one.
And see, I don't see anybody saying there is no money. I think we are assuming that there is a lack of resources. Can we put more money into it? Can we do this? We already have all the money we need. $30,000 is $30,000. It's a lot of money. But it's not been spent. It'll take 5 days to spend it, and then we won't need it. So why wait 5 days to spend the $30,000? So now, another thing is, when you do things like this, some money does go to waste. I mean, this is the reality of people. It means maybe buy way too many vouchers, or this was that. Happens. That's how life happens to individually also, and to the organizations also. So what my thought is that we can divvy up today that, okay, we're going to take Mission and give them 25 vouchers. We're going to take Homes now, give them 25 vouchers, whatever number you guys come up with. And we're going to take this church and going to say, okay, or we're going to give 25 vouchers to Sheriff's Office, or let city police chief or whatever the person they want to authorize, say, you got 25 vouchers, start issuing today, right now. If your patrol car picks somebody up, take it to Motel 6, or take it to so-and-so, and here is the payment. Well, no, in 2 days. You cannot burn $30,000 in 2 days in motels. If you just say, okay, anybody stand on the road, you're going to the motel, you will still not spend $30,000. I can tell you that. So, sorry, what I'm saying is action. That's what is missing, not the money, not the will of the people, not the will of the administration, not the will of the city. there's nobody in charge. Nobody's saying, okay, I'm the person, I will run every money through me, and you got a problem, call me. That's what it takes. And I'm willing to be that person. Give me $30,000 tonight.
Ms. Glasser, please, no, Ms. Glasser. Ms. Glasser, Ms.
Only men are allowed at the shelter downtown. Please, you just have to know.
Would you,
No.
That's just clarifying the truth. I'm sorry. It's needed.
Ms. Glasser,
Please. I know. I'm sorry. I'll leave that.
so I just want to bring up the reason I asked for the clarification from the clerk is I don't want us passing a motion without the cooperation of the executive and then feeling like we've actually accomplished something, because we do need his authority and his approval to actually spend money. The council does not have unilateral authority to do so. I'm very pleased by Mr. Schroeder's comments that the executive is very supportive, and that's been my experience with him. I would like to propose an amendment to Ms. Brenner's motion, which is what we've still currently got on the floor. I don't believe the county courthouse building is the first choice for shelter. I believe it is an option, and I proposed that in an earlier email on this weekend. The reason I don't believe it's the first choice is this is a difficult building to maintain security in. We have the juvenile centre upstairs, and we have a lot of individual spaces. I think the first best additional space is the garden room across the street. It is self-contained, and if I remember correctly, if you go out the back, can someone remind me, if you go out of the back of that building, what do you get? You just get the parking lot, don't you?
I'll take that as a friendly amendment.
Yeah, so that's Mr. Schroeder, you concurring that?
Yes, Tyler Schroeder. There's two exits on the back side of the garden room, conference room, that go into the underground parking, and then there's one exit to get out of the underground parking from that location.
And there's two other
So there's no access into the building, it's the main part of the office space?
Correct.
Correct, yeah, fine. So Ms. Brenner's accepted that as a friendly amendment. Further discussion? Mr. Donald?
Trying to make sure what the motion would be then, we're doing this unilaterally, or we are asking the executive to do this. I would like to be precise about, or open up discussion on what population, because the need is for populations that are not being served by the drop-in center or the Fountain Church.
I'll be precise that, yeah, we're doing it because the executive's not here. That's the reason that it's not intentionally unilaterally, but I don't think we should make another request. We've been making requests for months. I think we should just state what we want and that we want it now, and hopefully it'll happen right now.
So, Mr. Sadhu, if I may just provide clarity, we must request. We do not have the authority to make a unilateral, so we must request. Otherwise, if we tell the citizens that we have the authority to make a unilateral decision to open this, we are misleading them. We must request. That is what the rules are under the county charter. Mr. Sadhu.
That is not correct.
I was going to say, we can't say that executive is not here. That's not correct. Executive is here. Why we just start doing this, which has nothing to do, we need to accomplish something, not to blame people. We need to accomplish that, and this is that we make a request and they agree to the request, thing is done. Why we have to say that we force it or this force it? This is not about I did it or you did it. It's about solving a problem. And the problem is, and the administration is sitting here, and they're saying they're willing to do something, and let's just discuss it and get it done.
Ms. Brennan, then myself.
Always about the process. Always about the process. Never getting things done.
Excuse me, he said it's my turn.
Yes,
and
sir.
nobody's
Yes,
blaming anybody. He can't make decisions. The
I'm gonna go get
executive can.
coffee.
Well, fine, that's a good way to do it. You make your nasty comments and then walk out.
I will stay here. You can make all the.
I'm not making them. You're the one who made them about me, and it's not correct. And I'm getting tired of you putting motives on what I say. He is not the person who can make the decision. That's the only reason I said the executive's not here.
That's not true. He is the person sitting here and can make the decisions.
Not tonight.
Council members, I'd just like to remind us all.
Sorry.
I'd just
I
like to remind
apologize.
us all, we should debate fiercely about the issues, but
Well,
not.
that's getting
but-
personal. How about
but-
that?
But not attack each other
Yeah.
on a personal basis. We make solving problems more difficult. So, we still have a motion on the floor. Ms. Brenner has accepted a friendly amendment, and I would like to suggest something else to her, which is we have a motion on the homeless issue later on this evening, and perhaps the right place to insert this request is an amendment to that motion, should you and I have been going back and forth on whether there's more to do on this.
I think we should do that resolution as an amended thing right now with it.
So, Mr. Donovan, you and I have discussed whether there's more modifications. Or
Yeah, I
different-
mean, there you go.
Mr. Donovan.
The resolution is a very soft request, I guess. Ms. Brenner has upped the ante here in a way that I appreciate and like. So we can either do it through this motion or through this. That this is more, gets into more broad stuff also, is what the health department's role might be. But it does say providing county funding, coordination, cooperation with local governments, relevant nonprofits for access to county facilities and emergency resource for shelter in times of cold weather. So if we wanted, do we want to go right now and say that building, this population, and we're going to need money potentially for staff? Because I know that's what the executive has raised in the past as a potential objection is, well, some of that money that Mr. Sadhu was talking about, are we also going to be committing that? So how much direction do we want to give in this request, demand, whatever we want to call it, to use the garden space?
So for a point of process, if I may ask, do you accept moving forward with this and amending this as the vehicle for?
Whatever works.
Okay.
But I think we need to get some precision about how we're doing this in terms of the building, the staff, the money.
So if I may, Ms. Brenner, can I ask if you would withdraw your motion and amend and consider amending this document regarding the homeless to include what you're talking about in your motion?
I'm not sure, because I do want what I said now. This is a broader issue, and I want both, but I don't care if I'm not sure about why this can't come right in now with this. It seems like it can. We don't need to go through all these different motions. Let's just, I said I'll accept that as part of the motion. That's fine.
Madam Clerk, do you have a preference from a procedural perspective, one way or the other?
If you're going to amend the resolution, Barbara should remove her motion from the table. You can talk about the resolution now, later, whichever you choose.
Right.
And if you want to amend the resolution to include her request, that's the way you would do that.
Right, and I thought that would be the cleanest way of
What if I don't want, what if I just want to keep it and pull this into that request?
That doesn't, I mean,
Why can't you do both at this, why does it, I don't
there's
understand.
already a motion on the table,
Right?
which you made.
And I can amend and add that to it.
You're gonna amend your motion to
My own.
add the resolution to your motion.
So
you
have
wanna-
the resolution included as part of my motion, yes.
It would be cleaner to do it the way that I just mentioned,
Yes.
which would be to remove your motion from the table, discuss the resolution, and amend the
Fine.
resolution to include your request.
Okay.
So you're removing a motion?
I am, as long as you'll support it as part of the
Get in
resolution.
there now.
Okay, so with the consent of the council, maybe we'll just jump right ahead to the resolution regarding the homeless issue. Is that the wish of the council? Fine. So, and this is AB 2019-138, resolution requesting the county executive provide staff resources and funding to coordinate with Whatcom County City social service agencies and other providers to provide sufficient shelter capacity during cold weather periods and provide issuing motel accommodation vouchers. Right. So, Mr. Sadhu.
Yes. I suggest, I make a motion that after line 30, line 31 on that motion, Ms. Brenner, if you want to follow that, we should add that be it resolved that the garden level facility will be opened immediately, as soon as possible, or not immediately, as soon as possible, to accommodate some overflow of homeless people as needed. You guys can make it better. Just add one more whereas into the same resolution that Ms. Brenner is saying.
Except, could you go back to the immediately one? I like that.
Okay, I would say, be it further resolved that that the county should open the garden level room immediately. I take the word immediately out. I use the word as soon as possible to accommodate homeless people during this inclement weather or bad weather. You guys can add to that. And any overflows from the current shelters available in our county. In our county, yeah, that includes cities.
Just any overflow period.
Any overflow period, okay. I still need a coffee. Can I go for coffee now?
Yeah, but not in the middle of your motion, you can't.
But then you won't be able to vote on it.
I'll be back.
All right.
Mr. Sadhu, I don't have clarity on your motion.
Oh.
He really needs coffee.
Well, I'll do it. I know what he said.
I've been at this for 5 years. I think that's
that the garden room be opened. I like it immediately. I want to put that back in. Be opened immediately to accept any overflow of homeless people. Real simple.
So, point of clarification, could I just ask Mr. Hutchings, if you could just come down for a sec? I like, where possible, to make informed decisions, so I just want to check in with you as the effective manager of that building. I want to check in with you as to anything you may wish to say on this issue.
I have nothing to say. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. That was brief. Mr. Schroeder, my concern with opening it, the statement opening it immediately, is it obviously will need some form of staffing.
Correct.
So,
emergency staffing.
So do you have any suggestions of what we could ask?
I do, but I think it'll take a little bit of time to kind of understand the council's wishes to when that facility would be open. Earlier, Councilmember Donovan was indicating, and I think Councilmember Sadhu, that there is capacity in the current sheltering facility, or at least we as a community has established the Lighthouse mission and the organizations associated with the Opportunity Council and the Homeless Outreach Team to be the front door for those that are interested in going through sheltering needs. There are others that have accomplished additional capacity, and for those we are grateful and we are thankful for that. But for the county and the city, we've established a framework for that front door to those services and the capacity and the beds that we have worked very hard to establish to be through there. So over the weekend, we were monitoring and understanding what the capacity issue is in there. There was, I believe, about 210 beds with the Lighthouse Mission, the Fountain Community Church, and the different capacities that the city of Bellingham have moved forward to increase the capacity of about 30 beds over the weekend. So that currently serves unsheltered individuals, males. My understanding is it currently serves unsheltered females at the Fountain Community Church, as well as we've moved forward and established a voucher program for those unsheltered families that need to be separated from those other individuals for all the purposes that you can think of. And so just today, with organization and coordination with the city of Bellingham, they took it on themselves, and we are also grateful for the city of Bellingham to move forward looking for facilities and increase the capacity by 20 to 30. I'm sorry, I don't have that number off the top of my head, for the additional males to be separated out from the sheltering facilities that we have where we go. My understanding is Homes Now has worked with the church on Northwest to provide safe sheltering for tonight. And so immediately doesn't seem appropriate for the county to move forward as of the end of this meeting. Looking into county facilities to ensure that there is sheltering capacities available if there's a need, we could look at the garden room as that facility if the community and those partners that are established and working on this issue to shelter those individuals come to us and recognize that there is a need for that associated with it. That could be included in the resolution, and we would continue to work, as I've already had the conversation with some in our organization, about the garden room if it was of last resort. There are operational issues, there are other issues associated with it, and earlier today we talked more about the individuals and expertise that's needed to run those facilities. But as Councilmember Sadhu said earlier, it's action, and let's try to see where we should go associated with it. And if council wants to add language in the resolution, asking the executive to provide the Garden Street room if there's a need associated with it, and that can be identified, I am sure that Executive Laus will be willing to take a look at it and work with everybody to see how that can be established.
Ms. Brennan, then Mr. Stu.
Okay, except, and I appreciate that, and that's what I hope happens, but except there are people who are going to be out in the weather tonight. And there's also, by the way, you spoke about Homes Now, Tyler, John, you spoke about Homes Now. We've got I guess you're still the director, I don't know, of Homes Now is here, and I think he should clarify a little bit about Homes Now right now so we can move this on. I would like us to stay with immediate and not if there, when you put an if in, it always gets watered down, sorry. So I would like to have him speak. I would really like to hear what he says.
I would like to have him speak too, but I'm giving council members the floor first.
Okay.
Mr. Sadhu.
I agree with Tyler's analysis. But at the same time, why can't we buy 100 vouchers tonight? That is our stopgap, immediate need thing. We should say, okay, we're gonna go to 5 different motels and get 20 beds each, and it's not that we are booking them tonight, it's on need basis. If we don't use them, we don't use them. I mean, all I'm saying is that there should not be hesitance that you have a person in the car or you have a person in the alley, you picked them up, you don't know where to go. Maybe the entry place could still be the drop-in center. I like that there should be some order to things. So there's one place everybody knows I'm going to take the person there. And then they say, we are full. Northwest Community Church is full. This place is full. Okay, take them to Motel 6. There should be one place, one decision maker who knows, send it to Homes Now, send it to there. That's what needs to happen. But if we shuttle that person from organization to organization, that's not very good. That where the person goes first time, drop-in center or whatever, when it's processed, it should have a destination where it's going. And if we spend extra money for 25 nights, I'll take that blame. But we don't want to have this kind of discussion going on that what do we do? We don't need garden room if there are so many motels here. Why do we need garden room or any place? They are made for that purpose. Hotels are made for the people to live there. And it could be night by night. Sorry, I'm done.
Mr. Donovan.
I just respond to part of what Mr. Schroeder said. I didn't mean to suggest, I don't think I said that. I think there's adequate capacity in the system. I mean, I think what we're trying to focus on is there's people who aren't going in that front door. There's that kind of unmet need. I don't know if I'm comfortable saying immediately, like tonight, we're gonna ask for that thing to be opened up, but I think we need to say like, okay, tomorrow.
Yeah.
But what is the community of folks we're talking about? It's the ones who aren't being served, or they're at a place that isn't gonna be there tomorrow because there's not time at that facility, or they're at places that they can only stay till 7 o'clock in the morning, or, that's some hard information I think we need to have when we're saying we want that building opened. And just for anybody, I could be comfortable with that. But, and as far as the staffing issue, I'm pretty sure that the Maritime and Heritage one, they're relying on volunteers too, you know, so, you know, we should be able to consider that as well.
Mr. Buchanan.
I'd like to yield my time to Mr. Peterson.
Jim Peterson, president of Homes Now. Sorry I'm late. I was sleeping before my 1 o'clock shift going out for outreach tonight. Right now, Homes Now has 35 people out in the shelter that we set up in 5 hours out in a church. We can't name the church because they're afraid of retribution. So we have not named the church. There's 35 out there right now. I just looked at my phone. We have 2 vans that we rented for the week out of our own pockets, 15 passenger vans. One's full with 10 people. One's got 6. We can't take them to the church. The church is full. They told us we have a 40-person cap. So if we take one van out there, we got to take both, and we can't do it. Right now I have 17 residents of Winter Haven in motels. We paid up until Thursday. If this weather doesn't break, we got to raise money to put them up longer. We also have 10 people in Motel 6, 4 people in Coachman, 6 people in the Morning Glory. And we're scrambling right now, raising money from our donors. We're doing whatever we can. We've been out since last Sunday from about 3 o'clock in the afternoon until about 4 or 5 in the morning, scraping people up off the street. I keep hearing there's room at the inn, and I keep saying there's a section of people out there that I don't care. They would rather freeze to death than go to the drop-in or the mission, whatever reason. I like Seth Paul's idea, and I like Barbara's idea for 2 reasons. Motel vouchers. We put 100 people up in the guest house last Sunday through Tuesday. Some of those people we needed to not put in the motel. They needed to have more structure. We can provide more structure in a room where we can watch them closer. When you put them in a motel room, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. I can tell you now, and I can promise you everything that Homes Now has said they could do, we've been able to do. I can get the volunteers to staff whatever the garden room, if that's what you choose to do. We can staff it. We've all had a de-escalation training by the Bellingham Police Department. We have social workers on side with us, volunteering. We have nurses volunteering with us. We have all types of people. Right now, out on the streets, we have about 35 people driving around, picking up people. We have 20 people out at the church for volunteers. Tonight is the last night we can use the church because they need their church back. So I'm begging you. I know it can't happen tonight. We need motel vouchers for certain people, and we need a room for certain people. The 20 rooms that they added at Maritime Heritage Park, I thank the city so much for it because that will serve only males. We have couples, we have families with kids, we have mothers with kids. We're in a crisis, people. That's all I can say. I'm here to help you however I can. I'm here to tell you that Homes Now is willing to step up to the plate and manage a room. We're also willing to manage motel vouchers. We need your help. We can't do it by ourselves.
Mr. Chair?
Mr. Sadhu, just before you, thank you, Mr. Peterson. I appreciate that. Mr. Sadhu.
When we say it cannot happen tonight, I mean, we have credit cards, don't we?
So Tyler
These
Schroeder,
30 people.
Tyler Schroeder, Deputy Executive,
Sorry.
we've already moved forward and allocated $15,000 for vouchers for unsheltered families. We
I
did that
agree
over the
with that.
weekend.
Where are the vouchers? Who has them?
The Opportunity Council is
Can we call them now, that 30, 20 people in there, and which motel they should go to? We don't even have to go there. We just have to make a phone call, say they can go to Motel 6, and they can pay it tomorrow. We have that much credit with the people, the county government. Why can't they go to a hotel tonight, and Opportunity Council can call and give their credit card? Like, what is this?
It is very unlikely that we'd be able to deliver vouchers for that type of
You don't need to
operation
deliver vouchers. Just
tonight.
put them in the motel, say send the bill tomorrow. They don't need bill right now.
Let's remember that when we talked earlier about the capacity and the needs for the night, it seems like everybody's been
Okay,
accomplished.
there are 20 hotel rooms goes to waste. We had a capacity, we didn't be able to coordinate, do that. Is that a big deal?
Can I just interject for
Sorry,
a second?
I'm getting a little bit.
No, listen, if I may say, I am heartened by the emotion in the room trying to find a solution. I really want to acknowledge everybody for, this is an emotional issue and people reacting emotionally because they care. And I think
Thank you.
I think everybody needs to be acknowledged for that. Mr. Peterson, if I could just ask for clarification, I think you'd said you had accommodation for people tonight, is that correct?
We're at capacity at our church right now. They said 20 people, they let us go up to 36, so we have 36 people out there right now. We have vans right now that we're trying to figure out where we're gonna go. We've been doing fundraising today. We do have the money in our bank account. We can go rent motel rooms, but we can't keep doing it.
Right.
So I can go out there right now and put my credit card down and say, yeah, we can rent these rooms tonight, but what about tomorrow night? What about the next night? That's what I'm saying.
But I just for the sake of the immediate question, you have accommodation for the people you have so far tonight, and you have additional capacity if you need it for tonight, correct?
Right.
Right. So I just wanted to address Mr. Sadhu's concern, and I appreciate his concern, but I don't think we need to do, please tell me, either of you tell me if I'm wrong. I don't think we need to find additional accommodation tonight. We do have to worry about tomorrow night, correct?
We do have to worry about tonight, and I haven't looked at my bank account right now. I don't know how many more people we're gonna find tonight. That's the problem. We'll be out there until 4 o'clock. Right now, we have 14, 16 people. I'm probably gonna put in motel rooms tonight. I don't know, we might find 20, 30 more by 3 o'clock in the morning. It's a hit and miss because we have people, I've been watching messages and people are saying, there's a guy laying on the sidewalk down at Coronado right now. So we got a crew on the way to Coronado right now to go pick him up. Some people will refuse us, and then we give them hot water bottles and sleeping bags. We've been buying sleeping bags. And we bought out Walmart. They don't have any sleeping bags. Go to Walmart and try to find a sleeping bag. There ain't none. We bought them all. So we're spending every dime that we get, we're pretty much going out trying to stopgap stuff right now.
So again, if I can ask a very specific question, because I think we all need a very specific answer. For tonight, what additional resources must we find, or do we have, between the vouchers that have already been issued and between the resources you've got, do we have adequate coverage for tonight?
Yes and no. Right now, at this moment, yes.
Mr. Chair?
In 2 hours, I can't answer that.
Right. Okay.
And that's the best I can do.
All right.
Can we ask the same question in a different way?
Sure, please.
Yes. Now, if we say, how many people you put in a motel tonight, you send the bill to Opportunity Council and they will pay for it. Why you want to ask them, do you need it or not? We should say that you have the authority for how many, 10 or 20 people. If you send 20 people to a motel tonight and you get a receipt, you go get reimbursed from Opportunity Council. That's the solution. We should actually do it, to me, we should do it last 3 days. As many people they have put in motels, last 3 days. If they bring the bill, Opportunity Council should pay for it. That's the way to make them whole, so that they can take the same money and cover for next 3 days.
That would be great if
That's
that's the
the
way
way
it
it
would
should be.
work, but it won't work that way.
They are not
I'm
doing
just
it for
telling you.
themselves.
Didn't you just hear what he said?
That sounds great, but I can promise you it won't work that way. We've got people out there right now that called
That's what I mean.
Opportunity Council
Give them
today,
some
and
authority
they said
to
they
do
didn't
that.
have any vouchers.
One at a time, please, one at a time. So, Mr. Schroeder, I think you had your hand up.
My understanding, I don't have the resolution in front of me, but didn't council or the proposers of the resolution talk about the voucher program and ask for the executive or to look into expanding the voucher program? And if so, I can tell you that Executive Laus has already been having those same exact conversations today with a number of different organizations to provide an expansion of the voucher system. And so if that's the will of the council to request Executive Laus to do, that he more than likely, he will do that.
So, I'll yield to you in a minute. The specific request in the resolution regarding the vouchers was that they were accessible other than 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, because, and I had I had the opportunity to hear the direct story of a young woman and her husband and a child, 2-year-old child, are currently living in a car, and they're unable to get vouchers outside of normal Monday to Friday, which is where I came. I heard the concern about the ability to get the vouchers outside of normal hours. So that's part of the request. I do know that my understanding is that the executive has already agreed to increase the amount of money for vouchers. So that's not in the resolution. So,
correct.
Ms. Brennan.
So did you, I mean, I don't mean this in any kind of, but an inquisitive way. Did you take them in? What did you do when you found that out?
Actually, I just want to acknowledge that to the credit of Homes Now, they were actually being housed over the weekend by the work of Homes Now.
Okay, then is one of the organizations that the executive has contacted or is contacting Homes Now to make them able to offer extra vouchers?
No.
Why?
In the last couple of days, there's been no direct contact from the Homes Now organization in regards to it.
Here.
To Executive Laus.
But he's here, and he sent him, when he had that happen, he sent them to them.
No, I didn't. They were already being served.
Or they
by-
actually served them. So they are, it's like they've proven themselves.
Who Executive Laus has been discussing with goes back to the conversation I was having earlier about the framework of community organizations that we've established to try to provide these shelter situations. The Lighthouse Mission, the Opportunity Council, all of the other work that the Health Department has been working through, and that's the path forward to try to accomplish an expansion of the voucher program. And I want to be clear, well,
Go ahead, no.
there are dynamics and details to expanding the voucher program. Just handing out a voucher and allowing for individuals to use hotels. There are public safety concerns, there's other concerns associated with it, and we have to make sure that we continue to partner with those motels and hotels so that we can continue to utilize those types of organizations and those types of private companies into the future, because I think that's what we're all looking for, is a longer-term solution on work.
And I'm agreeing. I just,
Mrs. Sadhu, how do you say
well, I just want to follow up on what I was asking him about.
Go ahead.
Mr. Schroeder, that's what I'm talking about, is if people aren't going to be, if they've got to go through some process before they can go into a motel room, there are going to be a certain percentage of people who are not going to be able to do that, and for one reason or another, and that's where there has to be a room for people to be out of the cold till that can so they can be whatever it is you want to do about figuring out if they can be in a motel room. There's got to be somewhere for them to go right away.
We'll continue to look at those details and understand if there is a way to get them right away.
Mr. Sadhu and then myself.
Yeah, Mr. Schroeder and the rest of the council, I think what I'm saying is not to shortcut the process you guys are trying to follow and everything. That's why I even said that if Opportunity Council is our chosen organization to handle the $15,000, then if Homes Now has spent in the last 3 days, what's wrong with the reimbursing them? Like, the thing is that money is allocated for the homeless to be taken care of. Now, if it happens to be after the fact, means that it's already been done, so they are out of their pocket for, say, $5,000, $6,000. Why can't we make that whole? That's my one point. The second point is, has this organization, Opportunity Council, distributed even a single voucher in the last 3 days? Have they?
For unsheltered families, yes.
Unsheltered families, yes.
Correct.
Great. Okay. So, are they willing to extend that to the other organizations, or only when somebody comes to them? Is that the arrangement?
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay. So that's what I'm trying to make it. I'm not really trying to say that you should circumvent your process and liability issues and the other issues which are very real. And those things come up when something goes wrong. Until then, everybody's happy. When something goes wrong, then all the fingers get pointed. The one who gave the voucher? Who was the one? Why were they sleeping and everything? Okay, I understand that. All I'm trying to say is that this organization, Homes Now, have done some incredible work in the last 3 days. Let's just go for 3 days. There is nothing wrong that we make them whole if they provide the receipts. It's not that we're going to just give them money. They can go bring the motel bills that we have put up 15, 20, 30 people, make them whole. All I'm saying is this, and let them take care of other people themselves so that they have a pathway to get some money, because it's not easy. Whereas we are allocating money for the same purpose. To me, that would be the good use of money. And if Opportunity Council gets short of money, we can allocate more money to them. Let them go to Opportunity Council and get reimbursed. But we can control that process at least.
I'll yield to Mr. Donovan, then me.
I'm trying to circle back to, so the motion we have right now was, we were amending this resolution to try to come up with language about
Garden Street. I'll take it back. I think, I just want to cut short this discussion. I agree with him that they have facilities to offer. I take that back. Ms. Brenner, if you want to do that, I think I rethink of my thing. I think county executive, county administration is well equipped as long as they can take care of the capacity through motels or gardens. I'm not really married to garden center or this building or that building. My concern is as long as that we do not fall short of capacity and we don't leave people in limbo. That's all I care.
I wasn't done. Okay. Okay. But back to so whoever made the motion about using public space, because I was hearing Mr. Peterson saying like they can maybe have capacity tonight, but tomorrow is a different issue, and I don't know if there are. I guess what I'm hearing is you're saying we can just do it with motel vouchers, and I'm not so sure about that. But I want to get back to Ms. Brenner's point. How much do we want to be requesting that in the very near term there's a plan to use something like that room, which I support, but I also realize the logistics of getting that up and going could be very complex. But if we don't start tomorrow, we're not going to be figuring that out.
Did you have a comment, Mr. Schroeder? I'll yield to you, and then it's me.
I was just going to say that there's already been discussions about county facilities through the administration, and as soon as possible is the best that we can accomplish.
So I just want to draw a couple of comments in terms of my concerns about the need to move intelligently forward with this. I think Mr. Peterson, I actually would like to ask you to come back up because there's a couple of questions here. But you raised a point which I share with you, is that there are some segments of the population that are very difficult to work with, and I would assume particularly around other people, and that your concern is perhaps violence or antisocial behaviour or theft, or am I putting words in your mouth, or is that a fair?
My name is Jim Peterson, president of Homestown. Yeah, it's not only the violence, it's the drug usage, because even though they're using drugs, they don't deserve to freeze to death, so we're trying to save everybody just for the freezing. So the reason I say putting the addicts and the alcoholics into a motel room isn't a good idea, because just like what you were saying, we had 28 rooms at the guest house. 10 of them were for our residents at Winter Haven. The rest were random people we picked up. We ended up staying for 5 days, and then we got kicked out because we had drug usage. They loved working with Homes Now. We realized that we made a mistake by not having a space where we could just put them in, where it's more of a controlled environment. Like if we used, just for example, we used the garden room, then we'd have monitors to watch what's going on there. We even went so far as to ask the Bellingham Police Department to man it, and they turned us down. So I would come to the county and ask for an off-duty county officer, and Homes Now is even willing to pay for it through raising money for donors. It would help us out. But just because somebody's a drug addict or alcoholic or severely mentally ill doesn't mean they have the right to freeze to death. So the motel rooms that we're using now, we vented pretty close. The people we're taking out to the church are more extreme cases. Now that the city opened that, we took our even more extreme cases there because we wanted them to see what was going on. And it's not a payback, it's not anything, it was just, here's what we've been dealing with since last Sunday. So, to your point, both are an option for us. The motels, we would screen a lot closer what we'd put in, because not only, like Tyler said, we're concerned, we want motels to be able to work with us if we come across this again. So we don't want to ruin our reputation. So we'd be very careful who we put into the rooms. The last week of being out there, we pretty much know who we won't trust in motel rooms and who we will. We have a lot of people living in cars, families living in cars and vans that have no heat. The cars don't even run. They're just using them for a shelter. So I guess if I was asking for something, I'd ask for both vouchers or to just be reimbursed for what we spent. And I have a stack of motel receipts about that high right now. We spent about $11,000 this week on motels. So both would be great. But right now, I guess we'll take whatever we can get. I mean, beggars can't be choosies, as they say. But right now, to be safe, we need both options. We need a room that we can put people in. And these people that I'm talking about that we would use in the room, they won't go to the drop-in center. And it's not just because of the rules. It's just because they won't go there. They've had bad experiences or whatever. I also don't know whether you're all aware that the drop-in center doesn't even have running water or restrooms right now. They're using porta pots for 200 people. So, and only 6 of them. And when we set up Winter Haven, we were told we had to have 1 porta pot for every 10 people. That's just reality. It's not healthy. So if we could get a room, great, we would man it. If we get motel vouchers or just reimbursed for what we have spent and are going to spend, because as long as I won't send my residents for Winter Haven back into their tents, I won't send people back out into the streets. Does that answer your question?
No, thank you. I mean, I appreciate your comments, because I share Mr. Schroeder's concern that the motels are really a sort of a de facto extension of our homeless and crisis housing services, and I don't want us to damage the relationship with those vendors by putting people in there that are unsuitable. And so that's been one of my principal concerns here. I absolutely want to see families in particular housed, and I want to see everybody sheltered, but in an environment where we don't burn the bridge in the process for the next night.
And we don't want to burn any bridges
Yeah.
either.
So, Mr. Schroeder, you had a comment, and then Ms. Brenner.
I was just going to say thank you, Jim, for coming up and kind of recognizing some of the details and the operational issues that you've come to understand as you've stepped into this role to try to provide housing for those individuals. Because as I was saying earlier, and I think what Executive Lyles was articulating earlier this afternoon, is it takes all of this good work that everybody is doing to try to provide and be a part of the solution associated with this, and everybody wants to find that solution. If it would be helpful for the council, the executive is willing and able to meet with Jim tomorrow to talk a little bit more through all of these details as it relates to the resolution if council passes it. Just like we will continue to talk with the Opportunity Council, with the mission, with the city of Bellingham, and everybody else that's trying to accomplish and be a part of the solution.
And I'd just like to add the urgency. We have 24-hour stay right now. Tomorrow at 3 o'clock, I'm going to have my teams back out on the street. Right now, as it stands, we don't have anywhere to take them. I just asked my Doug how much money we have in the bank right now. We have $6,000 in the bank right now. So that's how far we can go. And our motel bills are about $3,000 right now per day with everybody we're putting in. Because we're not getting any breaks. We'd like to get some breaks on the motels, but they're not. And I agree with you.
So that offer stands if you want to meet tomorrow with Executive Lyles.
Just give me a time.
If you could help, Jim, how many people do you have in the motel vouchers? Was it 10? Because earlier you were indicating that there's about 10 that would be able to provide and live in that situation.
We have nine motel rooms for Winter Haven residents. We have 4 motel rooms at Motel 6. We have 2 motel rooms at the Coachman. We have 3 motel rooms at Morning Glory right now.
So that's about 18 motel rooms.
Yeah.
Earlier you were indicating that there was probably 10 individuals from your past experiences that could be housed in those motels, and is that still accurate?
I would say we're finding more because now people have heard about us.
Okay.
And so we're getting a lot more calls from the people that are been hidden. They didn't want to be found. Now they do want to be found. So I would say I could put probably 15 more people in motel rooms tonight, and that means about 8 more motel rooms tonight I'm probably going to be spending money on.
Offline, I will work with Jim to get a time available to meet with the executive tomorrow morning.
Sounds good.
Are you going to be available in the morning? He's out working on.
Oh, I'll be available in the morning. I've been running on about, I think since last Sunday, I've got like 8 hours sleep because when I'm not working, I'm in the RV behind City Hall coordinating all this, sending people to go pick up more people, so.
And I guess I would just add that, Jim, continue with that good work to see if you can find a solution like you already have found with where it's at, and then we can talk more about details tomorrow.
Ms. Brenner, I think it was your turn.
Yeah, Jim has said it a number of times. This does need to include the vouchers and a room that people can, be, have more oversight. So it needs to include both. I just want to make sure that you got that from him. Okay, thanks.
So back to the main motion, if I can, if people will allow me to try and channel the conversation into an amendment to the resolution this way. And the amendment would be an additional, therefore it be resolved, the council respectfully requests the county executive make the garden room available, that the garden room be included in our severe weather shelter inventory, ideally to be staffed by volunteers or to be staffed by staff contracted by the county if needed. Would that be an acceptable interpretation?
I think so. Can you read it again?
It is acceptable to me.
Okay. Madam Clerk, do you need me to read it again? Okay. The council, this is on line 31 on page 2 of the resolution. It would be be it further resolved, the council respectfully requests the county executive include the garden room, that the garden room be included in our inventory of severe weather shelters, ideally to be staffed by volunteers or by staff contracted by the county if needed.
Can I make a friendly amendment?
Just let me make sure she's got what I said correct. Yep, okay, go ahead.
The garden room or another appropriate location downtown.
Okay, I accept that.
I'm not sure if that's the one he wants to use.
And when the clerk has indicated she's got it. Okay, so we have to vote on the motion to amend first. Any further?
I second that.
Okay, so that was Ms. Brenner's motion, Mr. Sadhu second. Further discussion on the motion to amend. Seeing none, all in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes 6-0 with Mr. BYRD absent. Now we're back to the main motion, which was the motion requesting the county executive to provide staff resources, funding to coordinate with Whatcom County City's social services agencies and other providers to provide sufficient shelter capacity during cold weather periods and to coordinate issuing hotel-motel accommodation vouchers. Any further motions to amend? Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favour?
Sorry. Was the resolution moved in the first place?
Oh, I guess no.
I move approval.
Mr. Sadhu, who's going to second?
Second.
Ms. Frazee seconds. Further discussion. Mr. Buchanan.
Yeah, I think we still need an amendment in here about expanding the voucher program.
Far away.
So I would just say, I hate doing this on the fly, but let's put it right before the garden center one on line 31. Be it further resolved that the council respectfully requests the county executive to expand the existing hotel motel voucher program currently in effect by the county.
Just for clarity, he has already done that. So
That's correct.
and can you quantify the extent that he's done it?
There's been a contract amendment with the Opportunity Council to provide $15,000 for those unsheltered families that were in need over the weekend and continued. So $15,000, I think it's $55 a hotel room. That's about 272 nights that program's been expanded already, or has been continued already.
I guess I just want something in there that would further expand it if need be, so we don't have to have some kind of an emergency meeting just to deal with that fact. So that's why I'm putting that provision in.
And the only reason I interrupted you is just to give you the opportunity to quantify it if you wanted to.
As far as a number?
Yeah, because he's already expanding it, so it's whether you wanted to expand it further or...
Well, I'm talking about expanding the program we're doing, which is the 15,000. That's the program, that's not the expanded program.
That's correct, and we're able to continue to review that because the executive's already talking about what's next associated with expanding that program.
Okay, so I just kind of wanted us to have that in the resolution.
Okay. All right, fine. So is the clerk clear on that resolution?
And I'm good them coming up with the number. I think they're on top of it.
Mr. Sadoo?
I think as needed is good number.
Yeah, as needed.
Okay, so is the clerk clear on the motion? This is the motion to amend.
Second.
Mr. Donovan seconds. This is the motion to amend. Any further discussion on the motion to amend? Seeing none, all in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Is Ms. Brenner?
She's outside.
Oh, okay. I thought I heard her. Sorry. All right, opposed? That passes 5-0. With
Yes.
Can we make another, I make a motion that we revisit it so I can put my vote down. Sorry, I had an emergency. What?
They included you already.
Oh, I'm included? I got to yell it?
That
Okay.
passes 6-0 with Mr. Byrd excused. Now we're back to the main motion. Is there any further amendments to the main motion, Mr. Donovan?
Not an amendment, I just wanted to make a statement about it, very quick.
You can weave it into part of the discussion, go for it.
I don't want people to read this as we are discounting the work that the executive is doing up until this point, and we tried to get a whereas in there recognizing that the executive has recognized the importance of this issue and has been working on it and has provided some funds in addition in a quick response. And so hopefully people aren't seeing this as anything critical of what the executive's been doing up to this point.
Oh, it's an embellishment.
Ms. Brenner?
And I totally support it. And if anybody got the mistaken impression that when I said he's not here, I wasn't saying anything about him. I know he's done, I said that this morning. So, yeah.
I just wanted to add that, yes, like the chair earlier said, that we are all emotional, and I just want to apologize if I hurt somebody in my comments, but that's not where my intention was. My intention was we need to do something, and we need to do something quick. So I definitely support what administration has, steps they have taken. They work with the city, and I appreciate what Homes Now have done, what the mission, Lighthouse Mission has done, drop-in center, because I was there the other day feeding some people. I think everybody is trying to do whatever is needed at this moment. And in that doing, emotions get in the way. And I just say again, be cool. It's already cold enough out there. Chill. Thank you.
Sorry, I wanted to just concur with Mr. Donovan's comments that the two of us worked on the draft on this, and I want to reiterate that it's in no way is intended to be critical of what the work the executive has already done. I think everybody's operating under difficult conditions at the moment, and I appreciate how everybody stepped up. So, further discussion on the main motion, which is the resolution. Seeing none, all in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes 6-0 with Mr. Byrd absent or excused. Further, do we want to go back to the normal sequence now, or is item is consent agenda, right?
All right. I think it's from the...
Oh, I guess just one last
Oh,
request.
yes.
It's just that we could get updates daily from the executive's office, so we know what's going on. That would be great.
If I may amend, I'd actually appreciate, Mr. Peterson, if you would also send us a daily update. Would you send us a daily update? Yep, thank you. Just do it the whole council. Thank you. Mr. Sadoo, I'm sorry. Consent
Okay,
agenda.
I was going to say the next item is consent agenda, item 1 through 9, and they all received 2-0 vote, and Councilmember Tyler Byrd is excused. So I so move for approval.
And just for clarification, item number 8 has been removed from the agenda.
The item number 8, AB 2019-123, has been taken out of the agenda.
So we are moving for approval items 1 through 7 and number 9.
Yes.
Further
I
discussion?
move for approval, yes.
Further discussion? Seeing none, all in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes 6-0 with
Okay.
Mr. Byrd
The
absent.
next item is AB 2019-087, request authorization for the county executive to enter into an EDI, interlocal loan and grant agreement between Whatcom County and Port of Bellingham in the amount of $250,000. It received 2-0 vote in the committee, and I so move for approval.
It's been moved for approval. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes 6-0 with Mr. Byrd excused. The, this one. This one here. I one.
Oh, I mean to abstain on that.
Okay. That passes 5-0 with Mr. Byrd excused and Mr. Donovan abstaining.
Okay. The next item is AB 2019-105, request authorization for county executive to enter into an interlocal agreement between Whatcom County Flood Control Zone and the City of Bellingham for management and operation of the joint city-county aquatic invasive species boat inspection program at Lakes Whatcom and Samish in the amount of $123,000, council acting as the Whatcom County Flood Control Zone District Board of Supervisors. This also received 2-0 vote in the committee. Mr. Byrd excused, and I so move for approval.
We move for approval. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes 6-0 with Mr. Byrd excused.
The next item is AB 2019-107, request authorization for the county executive to enter into a cooperative agreement between the United States of America Army Corps of Engineers and Whatcom County Flood Control Zone District for rehabilitation of a non-federal flood control work in the amount of $453,100. Council acting as a Whatcom County Flood Control Zone District Board of Supervisors. This also received a 2-0 vote in the committee. Mr. Tyler excused. I so move for approval.
It's been moved for approval. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes 6-0 with Mr. Byrd excused.
Next item is AB 2019-115, request authorization for the county executive to enter into a contract between Whatcom County Flood Control Zone District and Exact Scientific Services to provide water quality analytical testing services in the amount of $90,000. Council acting as a Whatcom County Flood Control Zone District Board of Supervisors. This also received 2-0 vote in the committee. Mr. Tyler excused. I so move for approval.
It's been moved for approval. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes 6-0 with Mr. Byrd excused.
That's all the items from my committee.
Okay, the next item up did not have a committee assignment, which is a resolution requesting support for Washington State House and Senate bills related to pollution prevention, increasing habitat and fish abundance, protection of the southern resident orca whales from vessels, and improving the safety of oil transportation. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move for approval.
Mr. Sadoo approves approval. Mr. Buchanan, Ms. Brenner.
Well, we got this at the end of the day yesterday. It's probably 80 pages, and the little bit of research I could do found that there are some things that don't fit with what's in some of these bills. And I would just like to postpone this for 2 weeks so I can actually do my research on this. This whole idea of even talking about putting a resolution forward with this much paperwork last night, and I did talk to some council members who hadn't read the stuff that I had already read because I stayed up late, but it's not fair to any of the council members. So I move that we postpone this for 2 weeks.
So as the author of this resolution, I just want to explain that the actual resolution is 2 pages. I provided all the rest of it to save council members having to find the bills themselves.
But it says to support these bills.
No, I know that, but I.
Well, yeah, you can say, hey, just do what we say and everything will be fine. That's exactly what you're saying here. It's not 2 pages, it's 80 pages. maybe it's even more, I lost track of counting. It's about supporting a bunch of bills that I don't think anybody in here has read all of it. I know I haven't read all of it, I tried. And from what I did read and did a little research, I found something that actually says just the opposite of something in there that was from the Department of Ecology. So I just want the time to make sure I've got things right.
Okay. So I was actually out of order, for which I apologize. Are you making a motion to hold?
My motion is to table for 2 weeks.
Okay, so is there a second for that motion?
I'll second that.
That motion, there's a motion second to hold. The motion to hold is not debatable, I believe.
Correct.
Yeah, so all in favour of holding it, say aye.
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 Opposed? Right, I'm happy with it being held, so. Next item up is...
Can you give us the count on that, please?
The
I think
number?
The vote count
It was
on
unanimous.
that?
Those people that didn't vote.
Sorry,
5,
sorry, it was 5 to hold, 1 abstention. Mr. O'Donnell.
and 1 not here.
And I was very close to saying no. I don't mind waiting 2 weeks. I don't think it's urgent. I don't think this particular issue is that urgent. So, at least I don't believe that I think the issue is urgent. I don't believe the state vote is going to happen in the next 2 weeks. That's certainly my hope.
Well,
Ms. Brenner.
my hope would be, I know I can't force anybody to do this in the future, if you have something that's kind of controversial or that is really long, if you could do it as an introduction item so people could have the time to go through it and think about it rather than at the, one of them we got last night, the other we got today. And I do have concerns about the other one too, so.
Okay. So the next item up is to request approval to send a letter requesting the state funding to support the work of the Whatcom County Marine Resources Committee, AB 2019-136, and this was recommended by staff on behalf of the Marine Resources Committee. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Mr. Donovan moves to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Buchanan, second. Ms. Frazee looks like she was...
I almost was a second.
You got to be
slow
quicker.
tonight.
Got to be quick around here
I
sometimes.
do.
All right, further discussion. Seeing none, all in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes 6-0 with Mr. Byrd excused. Next item up is a resolution respectfully requesting the Whatcom County Prosecutor ask the Washington State Attorney General to review and update opinions previously provided related to the eligibility of county council members and commissioners to be appointed to vacant legislative positions, AB 2019-137. Do I have a motion to approve?
Move to approve.
Second.
Mr. Donovan moves to approve. Mr. Buchanan seconds. Ms. Brenner.
I move to table this for 2 weeks. We just got it today, and I do have some reasons where I think this is not a good idea to stick our, to impose ourselves in this, but it's going to go on a little while if I have to go through everything. So just because I'm stressed out, it's getting late, and I want to be able to give this the time it deserves, since this is your resolution too. I would like to, and this definitely nothing's gonna fall apart in 2 weeks on this one. So I move to table for 2 weeks.
I'd speak against your motion to table because this is basically the same resolution as I provided to all the joint councils
I know, but you didn't.
2 weeks ago.
Yeah, but you weren't, my understanding was that kind of wasn't supposed to happen, and now you're bringing it to us to do this, and I thought we were over with this, so I just would like to, I'd like to table it. That's my motion.
Okay. Is there a second for, you made a motion to table, is there a second to table?
I'll second that so we can have discussion.
The motion to, well, you can't make you can't have a discussion on table.
Oh, right.
Motion to table is not debatable.
It's not debatable?
No,
Right.
you can only make the motion, second it, and then have a vote.
It's.
So, all in favour of...
Can't talk about it?
No, that's not,
Well,
that's...
It's not.
You can talk about the
critical
main
to
motion, but you
tonight.
can't talk about... So if you
Okay,
want
I
to-
second that. Let's see what.
So, no, Mr. Sadhu, if you want to talk about the main motion, you have to withdraw your motion to table.
You could take
I-
2 weeks and we could talk about it.
Or you let the motion to table proceed through a vote.
No, I didn't make a motion, I just seconded it. She
Seconded.
made a motion.
I made the motion.
So at the moment.
Table.
Okay, so the way the rules work, we had a main motion on the floor for which it received a second. The main motion is debatable. Ms. Brenner made a motion to hold. You seconded the motion to hold. The motion to hold is not
Yeah,
debatable.
so I'm not discussing on the hold. I can discuss the main motion
You can't.
because,
We have to vote on the motion to hold, or you have to withdraw your motion to hold.
If you want me to withdraw it, I will, but it means we're going to go into quite a bit of discussion, because I'm not.
yeah,
this-
let's discuss it.
You want to do that tonight?
Yeah,
Okay.
So you're withdrawing a motion to hold?
but she can introduce again to table it.
Yeah, she can
Yeah.
she can table it
We're
later
gonna
on. if
have
you
that
want.
discussion.
Let's
Let's have
discuss,
it.
then you can table it again.
I don't want to table it after we spend all the time discussing it. No, my motion stands to table.
Okay, I second that. Let's have a vote.
Okay, so all in favor of tabling the motion, say aye.
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 No.
No.
Well, it's still four, we got four
Okay, so the
people.
motion to table has passed.
Okay.
We're going to table this for the next meeting.
Okay, well, can we discuss it now?
No, because it's been tabled. That's what I said. If you'd withdrawn your motion to table, we could discuss it.
Okay, can I make a comment?
Now, I will,
Not discussing, just comment.
I will say that the rules, Madam
Well, I can
Clerk.
make a comment in other business. I mean, I'm
That's
not dying
right.
to make it right
That's
now.
right.
But I think I know how I can give this. If one of the people who voted against it can put it, because it failed, they can put it back on the, they can
already-
put it back up for discussion, can't they? Or
My
I don't want to
table
mess up your
passed.
procedure. I
He's
do
going to
not
bring
want
something
to,
up under other
Or
business.
could a person who
times
voted
that-
for it put it back up on for discussion?
I do not want to mess up your process. I have plenty of time to bring it up.
He's
Let's just
fine.
proceed.
He's
Let's just
fine.
keep going.
Let's move along.
I don't want to answer your question because I'm not
Yes.
positive.
Good for you.
Sturgis doesn't really go with the for and against somebody bringing a motion
So
up that
if I
voted
put a
for or
motion on the
against.
floor to reconsider, as I voted for it, do I have the right to do that, or does it have
You
to?
could move to reconsider.
Okay, so I move to reconsider. Do I have a second to reconsider?
Second.
There's motion and seconded. So it's now on the table. It's now on the floor for reconsider.
For reconsideration, it needs to
Now
be
we can
voted
discuss
on.
it.
No, you
I
can't.
don't wanna mess up the
No,
tabling.
you
We
have to
tabled
vote
it.
on reconsideration
Oh,
before you
sorry,
can
do it.
discuss it.
All right. So all in favor, sorry, Mr.
We tabled it, and let's proceed. Now, we don't want to reopen it.
No, that's all you got to do, because he's just trying to bring it back
Yeah,
up.
I don't want to. But we tabled it, let's move on, and I will talk in the other business. I just want to make a comment. I don't want to have a discussion. I just want to make a
Okay,
comment.
and I was just trying to give you the vehicle.
It's the
to have
vote.
discussion.
Totally
You're
understand that.
trying to change things is
Yeah.
what you're trying to do.
I was trying to accommodate his desire to talk about it.
No, he said move on is what he said.
Yeah, let's move on.
So we have a motion on the floor. It must be disposed of. All in favor of reconsideration, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
No.
That fails 4-2. We move on to the next item. Okay. Next item is a resolution. We've already done the next one. So
Introduction items.
introduction items. Do I have a motion to introduce?
Move to introduce.
Mr. Buchanan moves to introduce. Mr. Donovan seconds. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favour say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That passes 6
There
to
was
0.
one item withdrawn from introduction.
Right.
Sorry, item
The
number
surplus thing.
Item number 9 was withdrawn, so we're introducing items 1 through 8 and item 10. Okay. Next up is Finance Administrative Services. Anything from you, Mr. Sadhu?
Yes. We had county executives report, and I think that we had a lot of discussion even now on the homeless, and that was the major topic. And the second thing is county executive announced that he's not running anymore for the next term.
Surprise.
Surprise.
Okay, and then in the Committee of the Whole, we had a discussion, executive session, where there was a discussion with County Council's Legal Counsel Karen Frakes regarding Whatcom County Code 24.11 drinking water. That was it. Council member updates, Mr. Buchanan.
Just wanted to give a quick report out on the trip that I went on with Ms. Deacon from the Health Department and Councilmember April Barker and Dan Hamill from the Bellingham City Council. It was our second convening of the conference. It was called the Intergovernmental Policy Academy, dealing with incarceration prevention of young adults 18 to 25, or 24, excuse me. And we had, this was a much more of a working meeting than the first one that we had in San Francisco. Was a lot of presentations and kind of educational for us, whereas this was a lot more of the roll up your sleeves and work on your action item that you've taken back to your community, which ours is improving data and data communication across all sectors in the criminal justice system, and then a joint resolution that would really put a focus on that population as far as incarceration prevention goes, between the city, the county, the small cities, and several of the nonprofits around. We're gathering more folks as we go that want to participate in this program. So it was very informative, very cold. We got the edge of the vortex back there, and brought some of it back here, I guess. So
Yeah.
Anyway, just wanted to let everybody know it was a successful trip and paid for by a grant, so from the MacArthur Foundation, and we will have another convening in Philadelphia in June 19th.
Hopefully it'll be warmer. Ms. Frazee.
Yeah.
I just want to thank Mr. Peterson again and everyone that's out there helping, and also for the Public Works for all the work they've been doing during this storm. So thank you.
Nothing to report.
Nothing from me other than I do also share Ms. Frazee's comments on everybody's trying to help at this particular point. Ms. Brenner.
Well, I think our staff is trying really hard, and I loved how you said it, Councilmember Frazee. And I think Homes Now has been at the forefront of this whole thing, so we need to make this work quick.
Okay. Can I talk now, other item?
Talk about anything you want.
I just wanted to say that why do we need this resolution from the council? The prosecutors, actually from 3 different counties, were there in the meeting in Skagit County, and they mentioned that they can write a letter on their own for the opinion. I just want that clarification that is that deal off?
The prosecutors can do that, and I think it's my understanding from talking with not only Mr. Ritchie, but the other representatives of other offices, that all of the prosecutors were willing to do that. So I don't know, I appreciate the resolution, but I don't know that it's really necessary.
Can I ask another question? My question is that I can see why Mr. Brown has brought in this thing, that is there any assurance or a letter written by our prosecutor to the council that I will be seeking that opinion? Then we don't need a resolution. I think maybe his concern is that he doesn't want to get a die. You know, like, you guys don't take an action,
right,
and council doesn't take an action. So if there is a letter from the prosecutor, you can check with them that they're going to seek the opinion.
Right, and just Mr. Ritchie can see
Yeah,
that opinion
Mr. Ritchie
on
can
his
do that.
own.
Yeah,
So,
that's we're concerned about our county.
I can see what I can
Yeah,
get from him.
if we receive that, then we don't need the resolution.
Yeah, that's
It's the same
correct.
thing. Yes.
Okay.
If I may, I'll just respond to that. The motivation when at the state party chair had indicated that when asked to ask for the Attorney General to revisit this, the state party chair's comment was, the county councils have had 30 years to do this. We're not going to do it. The county councils need to do it. That was the comment from the state party chair. So
Oh, can I respond?
Yeah, sure.
That is something I wasn't aware of, but at the same time, there are 39 counties.
Right.
And this should be something, WASAC should do it on behalf of the counties. You know, like I'm not against the resolution, I just want you to understand. But it's just one county asking. I think we should write a letter as a council to WASAC that they are representing all the 39 counties, and they should ask the opinion. At the same time, our prosecutor can also write a letter to the Attorney General doing that. That would be, to me, more effective if we go to WASAC and say, you put forward on behalf of all the counties, and it's a very genuine resolution. Whatever recommendation we get, right? But I mean, that's how I think about it.
Good thing we didn't table this.
I got my hand up too, since you
Ms. Brown.
decided to talk about this and reopen it anyway. I'm extremely opposed to this resolution, and I would love to spend all the time, and I'll talk to you about it afterwards, and I want the time to really talk about it. So I feel like, I don't even feel like what's happening here. I feel like I'm being used as a council person here for something that you didn't get your way on. So, there.
Yeah, I just want to add that I do favor this resolution, finding out the opinion. I'm not really against that. Whichever it may be. No, that's a 30-year ago. And 30 years is 30 years ago. So I'm not against this resolution. I want to find out, but I think that WASAC would be the better, because then we are going at all the counties and asking for the opinion, rather than just one county, two counties doing it. That's what it would be more forceful if all the counties go together and ask Attorney General to write an opinion.
Further, well, I was going to say further discussion. We don't have a motion. This is supposed to be your update, Mr.
Adjourned or what? Isn't it time to adjourn?
Any further business for the council? Seeing none, we are adjourned.